Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel and Abby. Today, I have a question. Two, actually. And your answers may vary depending on what you had for lunch today. So, on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being not at all and 7 being very much so, how unpleasant would it be to harm this cow? The next question is, how much does this cow deserve moral consideration? Same scale, 1 to 7, 1 not at all, 7 very much so. Now, these aren't my questions. These are the questions these researchers asked in this study: the role of meat consumption in the denial of moral status and mind to meat animals. And we're going to get to how they asked those questions and where they asked those questions in just a moment. But for now, I want to take some time to sort of dive into the background as to why this may be important. Cognitive dissonance. When we hold values and beliefs close to us, but act in contrast to those values and beliefs. I'll take a bet that all of you on your Sunday afternoon did not go punting little dogs and cats. I'll take a greater bet that most of us don't really enjoy harming sentient individuals, but we really enjoy the taste of their bodies. This is cognitive dissonance, and it's what researchers call the meat paradox. Why we love dogs, eat cows, wear them as well. And there are two main ways that we resolve this dissonance associated with the meat paradox. The first, we try to invent justifications as to why it's either okay, why it doesn't matter. We appeal to things like futility, we appeal to nature, we appeal to culture, history, taste, and the list goes on and on and on. If you're curious, I recommend you checking out this website. And I'm guilty of this too. These are the justifications I used to make 3.5 years ago. The second way we can reduce dissonance, however, is simply choose to eat other things that aren't individuals. And in doing so, you may experience some health benefits, but I'm not here to argue for that. What the researchers found, however, is that by choosing to eat products like these, we can stay in alignment with our perception of non-human animals. Meaning the reverse is also true. You see, what the researchers actually found is that by eating the flesh of these individuals, we tend to simply care less. We withdraw moral status from these non-human animals. So what does this mean, and how did we get here? Well, researchers took a group of 108 different students with a mean age of 19.6, so very close to us in age. And they randomly divided them into two groups. One of them ate cashews, and the other ate beef jerky. They were then told to just do a standard taste questionnaire, like how did it taste? How was the flavor? How was the appearance, the texture? That's not important. That's not the actual study. The actual study is when they were redirected to a separate online questionnaire with different style, different font, different title, different names, different order, different everything. They were even forced to re-enter their demographic information so that they would think it's a separate study not associated with the tasting metrics of the cashews and the beef jerky. And in this questionnaire was a moral circle task. Basically, the researchers present a circle, and within the circle, there are 27 non-human animals, and they ask the participants to circle the animals in which they feel obligated to show moral concern for. They were then told that they would be randomly assigned to a random animal to provide a more detailed rating on them. In reality, this animal was always the cow. And the cow was always at the center of the circle to prime the participants to getting them to think more about this cow. They were then asked to rate the cow on a variety of experiences, like their experience to taste, to feel hunger, to hear, to smell, to feel pain, pleasure, and fear. But also cognitive states, like thinking, reasoning, and imagining. And then we're back here. They asked these two questions. So what did they find? Well, unsurprisingly, I would say, and probably expectedly, those that ate cashews had a greater moral circle size than those that ate beef jerky. What this means is that they ascribed more of an obligation, more of a moral concern for more animals than those that ate the beef jerky. I'm not really interested in this. I'm not interested in the differences between these two groups. What I personally find interesting are the similarities. Because you see, both the participants in the cashew and the beef jerky group rated the cow's ability to experience sensations like pain, pleasure, fear, thinking, reasoning relatively the same, with no significant difference between the two groups. This means two things, in my opinion. The first is that whether we eat beef jerky or cashews, meat or legumes, we intrinsically understand that these non-human animals share experiences very similar to our own, and that by consuming the flesh of these individuals, we simply withdraw moral status from them. And the second implication of these findings is that while we usually think that our morality dictates our actions, the reverse is also true. Our actions can shape our morality. And since eating is an action like any other, this presents a unique opportunity for us as a species. That every time we eat, we have the opportunity to not only change our minds as to how we think about these non-human animals, but to save their lives as well. Thank you very much. Any questions?
When they chose who was participating in the study, were there any questions about what their diet was currently?
It was just a random selection of students from a school.
Okay.
So it had nothing to do with any dietary preferences at all.
Okay, so they weren't trying to get like a certain amount of vegans, vegetarians,
No.
and people. Okay.
No. And vegans comprise of 1% of the population, so
Absolutely.
very small percentage. Good question. Yes, sir.
I guess, how would you kind of present this information maybe to the public and be useful? Like if you want to make a change, like how would you present what you found here to the public?
Wow. This guy just told me that I failed.
No, just like, the general public who doesn't understand.
It's a good question. I mean, what don't you understand? Maybe it's a better.
Well, I mean, the general public has a completely different idea than I feel like, I guess, nutrition students. I know it's not exactly nutrition, but I just mean that general public have a stronger opinion on meat, so I don't know. I guess not.
I want to answer your question, but I mean, I really tried my best to present this information to people of all backgrounds. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, I guess I just mean more people, because presenting to a classroom is different than presenting to everyone.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say like the main takeaways is near the last slide. Like, we tend to think, like other research articles have shown that people think of vegans and vegetarians as having like a higher moral compass or whatever. But in reality, sometimes the morality is strengthened by the actions we take in our everyday life. And so if we all believe that our moral concern should come from not whether they think or whether they can speak, but can they suffer, then the actions that we take should be in line with that, theoretically. Does that help?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Jim.
No, you're all good.
Any other questions?
Hey, Janine.
Sorry.
Good presentation as usual.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to know what is the sample size of this study and
108 students.
okay, in each group or combined?
No, there were I think like 46 in the beef jerky group and 50
And
something.
what is the duration of the meeting?
Oh, less than 15 minutes. So
Only once.
they only ate them once.
Don't you think it could be by chance also? Yes.
Yeah, it could be. I think that's really hard to find by chance though, because I mean, one group just say cashews, one group just say beef jerky. It would be interesting to see it happen again. But that's why I asked you all the question. And I told you that it may change based on what you ate today. So I know, Sarah, you have lots of legumes and beans, so maybe you rated them a little higher.
I go with the other values. Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? Brooks?
You said that the average age is 19. Or,
19.66, yes.
do you think that there could be an age-related viewpoint on this, on like younger people may skew more towards, if I,
Greater moral concern.
like vegan morality, right? Like I don't know if that's
1000%.
rather than older populations.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna express my personal beliefs here. I don't think we're natural born predators. I think when you go in a place with a pig and you're hungry, your first instinct is not to tear apart the pig with your canines. Our hands use tools. When you put a baby in a room with a rabbit and a carrot, the baby will eat the carrot, it won't maul the rabbit. When we look at other species, other predators, their behavior is entirely different. So I feel that as we get older, we become more desensitized to the atrocities of animal agriculture. We think of it as normal because we all do it. So that's appealing to culture. Brad.
So in this led rate, it was at the same time. Did they randomize the people to either
Yes.
that group? So they didn't ask them what their preference was. They just said, you eat
Yes.
the nuts, you eat the jerky, and wow, okay.
Yes. It's honestly quite fascinating in my opinion.
That is crazy. It's not crazy.
I know we had a question about like the duration. Was it like ad libitum, or were they like given like, are you eat this specific amount of food, or was it like just kind of eat until you're content?
That's a great question. I don't think it was ad libitum. I think it was probably a certain amount of cashews and a certain amount of beef jerky, which would pose interesting implications if they weren't perhaps like the same in calories. Maybe one was more hungry than the other. That may skew the findings a little bit, but they didn't mention any details on the nutritional differences between the cashews and the beef jerky, but that's an interesting thing to think about. Any other questions?
Was this their first meal of the day? Like, had they already eaten? Or?
No, they've already eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was, I believe, like in the midday after lunch. The high school students, I think.
Is it theoretically possible that the nutritional composition of those two different meals could influence how they feel?
Yeah, that's what I believe Tim was getting to,
Okay.
and that's what I think is an interesting thing to think about, and probably where our expertise would come in assistance with future studies like this.
Where are they doing this stuff? Tell me about more.
Well, I mean, I feel like we're so entrenched in like mechanisms and things that this is psychology, you know? Like I'm not gonna lie, but yeah.
It's nutrition though.
A little bit. Thank you for approving it, Brad.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I gotta hear this.
Any other questions?
All right, thanks.